Hello, how are you? Today I'm going to teach you how to make a super probiotic oatmeal, excellent for your gut, great for your health, and helps reduce inflammation. You're going to love it for sure. You can use it as a substitute for yogurt or add it to your yogurt. This recipe is vegan, so it works well for everyone, and it's super healthy. It's very easy to make. Stick around until the end because you won't want to miss it. The ingredients with the correct amounts will be listed down below in the description for you. This oatmeal is going to ferment and become a probiotic, and probiotics are excellent for our gut health, our immunity, and inflammation. I told you that this fermented oats we're going to make here can replace yogurt because it's really easy to mix it later with fruit or some other ingredient. At the end, I'll explain more details and give you tips on how to use it once it's ready. It's really easy. So the base, as I already mentioned, is regular rolled oats, the traditional kind. And oats are very interesting because they contain, on their own, many beneficial components that bring positive effects to our bodies. Oats are a source of carbohydrates, they have a lower glycemic index, and they contain fiber. Among these fibers, a portion of them is beta-glucan, which helps lower cholesterol and is good for the heart and cardiovascular health. Oats also contain protein, so they are an excellent addition to our daily diet on their own. When we ferment oats, we are able to activate some beneficial microorganisms that live here, which will make them grow, and this causes part of the carbohydrates in the oats to be pre-digested, so it gets even better. Let me put it like this so it doesn't spill. It further improves the digestibility of oats and also enhances the flavor itself. Oats change in flavor. They naturally take on a taste that's almost like yogurt, a bit more fermented really. I was going to say even sour, but it doesn't actually get sour. And it's super interesting from a nutritional standpoint, of course. So here I have a jar that I've already washed and sterilized in boiling water. After that, I simply let it air dry completely, without using a cloth, paper towel, or anything else. In this jar of mine, which is very clean, I've already added the oats. So now I'm going to add filtered water, just regular water you have at home, until it covers the oats. So I'm going to add both of these things here and then mix them together well. And what else do you need as an essential ingredient? Absolutely nothing at all, because the oats will naturally ferment just like this. Of course, if you have some kefir at home, or a bit of plain yogurt, or even those probiotic capsules, you can add them here to ferment along with the oats. But actually, it's not necessary. So what are we going to do now? I'm going to take a paper towel, place it here, and take the lid of this jar. I won't screw it on because, as the oats ferment, they will naturally produce carbon dioxide. So if you screw it on, it could explode, it could spoil, which isn't good for you, and it could even be dangerous. So I'm going to take the paper towel, I'll show you here, I'll put it on, then I'll place the lid of the jar on top, and then I'll put this in a dark place. You can put it in a dark cabinet or inside the oven when it's turned off. If you turn the oven on, you'll cook the oats and kill the microorganisms. It won't work. And we're going to leave it here for at least 48 to 72 hours, and when it ferments, I'll come back here to show you how it turned out. So for now, I'm going to show you how to set it up here. We're going to take it to a dry, dark place, which is what the microorganisms like in order to proliferate, and then I'll come back with suggestions on how to consume it and show you how it turned out. Look at this interesting detail. I had put a 1-to-1 ratio of oats to water, and it has already absorbed the liquid. So now I'm going to add more water here because we need liquid for this fermentation to happen, and I'll mix it here so that everything is covered with the liquid, with the water here. Now I'm going to put the paper towel here, I'll lower it a bit. Actually, I'll do this. I won't even put the lid on so as not to confuse anyone. I grabbed a saucer, I'll place it on top here, and I'll leave it in the cupboard. Just so you don't get confused, screwing it on and causing problems, this is just so you know it's only to have something with a bit of weight here, so no insects, dust, or anything like that gets in. So I'll put it away now, and in about 48 to 72 hours, I'll be back to tell you how long it took and show you how it turns out. Hold on, I'll be right back. Look, 72 hours later, I've already removed the paper and the plate so you can see. Take a close look here. Some bubbles have formed. I'm going to turn it slowly because as we move it, the bubbles pop. Do you see? Look, there are some bubbles here. And when you move it here, you can smell the baker's yeast. I'll show you here. Look, the bubbles even start to rise. This shows that fermentation has taken place and there's still quite a bit of liquid, which means it really was effective for the fermentation to happen safely. See the bubbles here? Now I'm going to show you a really nice suggestion for how to consume it. A good tip is that if you want, you can set aside about 3 tablespoons of this already fermented oats and store it in a jar in the fridge, and then use this as a starter to ferment your other oats. That way, it will ferment faster. It probably won't take 3 days. Maybe in a day or a day and a half, you'll get the same result because you'll already have this starter here to speed up the process. You may have noticed that the consistency of the oats changes. It becomes creamier because, in addition to being hydrated, part of the carbohydrate has been pre-digested by the beneficial probiotic yeasts and bacteria. So remember, this is an excellent probiotic source. It has truly become a probiotic food now. You can use it just like you would use any other probiotic. In other words, depending on the amount you want to consume, you can adjust it according to what you're going to eat. So, for example, you can take this fermented oats and put it on top of your banana, add a little chia, and eat it with fruit. You can do what I'm about to do here, which is make something like a smoothie and have it as part of your breakfast. Let me know how you're going to add it, because that's really up to you. So, my suggestion now is to take my homemade coconut milk. I'm going to add some chopped banana here, because that will also bring some sweetness, since these oats are naturally a bit more acidic, as it's a fermented food. So, as a suggestion, I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of these oats here and blend it with my hand mixer until it turns into a smoothie. If you want, you can add a non-caloric sweetener, sugar, honey. I don't think it's necessary because the banana already sweetens it well, so let's blend this really well. You'll see how creamy this smoothie gets, and besides being super healthy, it's probiotic. I'm a bit afraid of making a mess here. Let me move this over. Look how creamy it is. Try making it at home. You're definitely going to love it, and your health will thank you. Always remember that whenever we make any kind of fermented food, if you notice any strange growth, unusual color, or bad smell, be careful, do not consume it. Health always comes first, so make sure to thoroughly sanitize your utensils before making fermented foods. This helps ensure better microbial control and higher quality for your product. Remember that once it's ready, the ideal is to cover it and store it in the refrigerator. Once fermentation is finished, you can keep it in the fridge and use it throughout the week easily. Tell me how you're going to enjoy this recipe. Let's give it a try. The flavor is really mild. It really tastes like oats with banana. It's not acidic like kefir or sauerkraut. So it's very easy to enjoy. Make it and you'll love it. See you next time. Bye.